Welcome everybody to the Seminar for Aspiring Writers. My name is Alexander Duck. Today we're going to be talking about different ways that you can self-publish, different ways to market your work, to network your writing, to get your creative works out there, and how do you build an audience, how do you sell products. So first I want to take a moment to introduce myself and talk a little bit about my history and why this topic is important to me. So when I was in grade school, my school had a book project. And the way that it worked is every student, every grade level wrote a story. And this was back in the very early 90s, so not everyone had a computer at home. So the school actually took the stories and typed them up. And the student got back a book that was binded, and on each page there was a small section of their story, and then a lot of blank space. So the students could go back and illustrate. So it was artistic as well as creative. After they were completed with the books, in the very back they had like an about the author page. You wrote a little bit about yourself. Then they circulated them, throughout the school. So second grade classrooms, books might go to a fourth grade class might go to a fifth grade class, fifth grade down to third grade. So everybody in the school got a chance to read everybody else's works, everyone else's books. So we did that for a couple different years in my elementary school. And the reason I bring that up, I'll come back to it later, but it's just important to know that from a very early age, I was already engaged in writing. My senior year of high school, I was still writing. I was part of the poetry club. I had written some stuff for my middle school and high school newspaper. My senior year of high school, I got this idea that I wanted to produce a book. I wanted to produce something that people could actually keep and own for themselves. So I started looking around at options. And I found that there was a print shop in my city that I could get these books produced for a really reasonable price. Now, of course, I was a high school student, so I was poor. I didn't have any money. But I was fortunate enough to have a friend who believed in me, was enthusiastic enough to front me the money to get the books made. So I took that opportunity, and I had these books made. And to give you an example, they kind of look a little bit like this. So I refer to these as coffee table style books. So they kind of looked a little bit like this, but I took orders from friends, families, classmates, pretty much anybody and everybody that I knew. And I had them produced, and I sold them. And not only was I able to pay my friend back, but I'd actually made a little bit of profit. Now, when I was in college, I had the opportunity to write a couple of newspaper articles for my school newspaper, my university newspaper, The Lanthorn. So I produced a couple of articles for them while I was going to school. And then my senior year of college, I thought, it's been 6 years since I did a book. I should do another one. So I kind of just repeated the same process. I found a print shop. I paid the money up front. I had these books made, and then I sold copies. Several years later, after college, my father passed away. And one day I was in his house with my sister going through his effects. And she says to me, will you look through his nightstand drawers? Because there's a lot of stuff in there. I just need to know if there's anything in there that you would like to keep. So I'm going through my father's personal effects. And in there I find these books from first and second grade that I had written. Not only was I surprised that they were in my father's nightstand drawer, because I would have imagined if anyone would have saved them, it would have been my mother. I didn't even know they still existed. So I'm flipping through these books, and I get to the back page of one of them, which is about the author. And I had wrote in there why the story was important to me. What they wanted you to answer. What does this story mean to you? And I wrote, because I want to grow up and be an author. Because I love writing, and I love telling stories. I was in first or second grade when I wrote that. Here I was now a college graduate, working full-time hours, doing clerical administration or accounts receivable or something. Nothing to do with writing. I had almost completely given up on my passion for writing. Considered it just to be a hobby. It was never going to amount to anything more than just a hobby, something I did in my free time, my spare time. When I saw that, and I realized from a very early age, writing has always been my passion. It's not a hobby, it's a passion. There's a big difference. So I knew that I had to pursue it. A couple years later, it was New Year's, And I was out with someone, and they asked me, what do you want to do with your life? And I found myself giving that same typical answer. Oh, well, I found I'm really good at clerical administration. I'm really good at accounting. And they said, no, what do you want to do with your life? Because it's we have an inclination to want to answer with what we're good at or what it is we do to pay the bills, but not what we actually want to do. And when I stopped and I thought about it, I thought the only thing I've always wanted to do is write. And their answer to me is, well, why aren't you writing? I didn't have an answer. I just hadn't had known anyone to ever make me think about it that way and want to really pursue it. So if it's your passion, that's what you should be doing, right? So a big part of that is encouragement. And I actually found this quote this morning that I wanted to share with you guys. And this is from John O'Donoghue, who is an Irish poet and philosopher, in his Eternal Echoes, Celtic Reflections on Yearning to Belong. And he says, one of the most beautiful gifts in the world is the gift of encouragement. When someone encourages you, that person helps you over a threshold you might otherwise never have crossed on your own. So that's really important to me because I've been fortunate enough to have those people in my life. But what I realized what I wasn't doing was my passion. I was just doing stuff to pay the bills. So starting January of 2015, I stopped calling myself a hobby writer, stopped calling myself an amateur writer, and started calling myself a professional writer. And I started taking myself seriously as a writer and realizing that this is what I want to do. I need to learn how to make a living out of it. So a year and a half goes by. I have accomplished more in the last year and a half than I had in all the years prior, as far as becoming a writer, becoming a professional writer. Now, where I'm at now, I thought back and thought, a year and a half ago, I wish somebody would have sat me down and told me about all the options that I had. Somebody would have sat me down and told me, hey, you can do this. There's a way to do it. Other people have done it. Because I had no idea what I was doing. I just felt my way in the dark, and I fumbled, and I found opportunities. I've accomplished so much in the last year and a half that I want to share those experiences with other people now to tell them, hey, these are options that are out there. You have opportunities out there. Because I know in the next year and a half, I will accomplish a lot more, even more than what I've accomplished now, because I kind of have some idea of where I'm going, right? So that's what the seminar is about. It's about talking to you guys about what kind of opportunities are out there for you, how you go about navigating, becoming a writer, because I can tell you right now, there are tons of people out there doing it right now. We just don't know them, because it's not something that you normally get a chance to sit down with somebody who is a writer, especially a career writer, and talk to them, how do you do it?